Yo, 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 what is going on, CoD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today I got a special one for you. If you're a new player, if you're just getting into Call of Dragons, if you've been here for a minute, this is going to be the video for you to watch when it comes to which artifacts should you be running on PvP comps. We asked the top 200 players from the strongest kingdom right now, which is the Merged Kingdom SS1-2, which is currently comprised of kingdoms 1 through 6. And we looked at the top 200 from the personal merits board, right? This is essentially the top 200 PvP strongest fighters that are in this merged kingdom. And we asked them what are their top 5 artifacts that they like to run. And I basically pulled all that data. We got responses from I think 67 people here, and I'm also going to give everyone access to the spreadsheet as well. I'm a big believer in giving flowers and making sure that people get their credit. And though it would take me a while to name off everyone, I want to give a big shout out to SS1-2 because they have been so forthcoming. I got more responses this time around than I did the last time, which I think we got about 40 to 45. So we pretty much got over a third, if not right around a third of response rate from the top 200 players when I messaged everyone. And so I very much appreciate their time and thank you guys so much. I can't wait to highlight all the data that you were able to give me because it is very interesting and we're going to talk about it and show it off right now. So without further ado, let's skip to my loo and show you guys this awesome possumness. Okay, so stats I have at the bottom, but I'm going to show you kind of what we did, right? So you have the players that responded. We have their top 5 artifacts in no particular order, and these are what they're currently running in PvP. So again, if you're looking what artifacts should you be aiming for on the PvP on the meta side, this is where you're going to end up getting a lot of that good information. And again, the spreadsheet will be in the pinned comment and or the description down below. Also, for anyone that gave me feedback, I left their feedback here. So in case any of you players want to read through some of the reasoning and justification behind why these players chose these particular artifacts, right, you can go through and have a nice read. Now, not everyone gave me feedback, also because the way I worded the question this time, I forgot to ask if you would be kind enough to also give me feedback. I'll be remembering to do that going forward. But as we scroll down, right, you'll see again, a lot of players. Everyone's getting a shout out here. Got to give everyone their flowers. And again, you can see 69. The top 2 rows are kind of filler headlines. So we got 67 people that responded. And then here's some of the cool data, right? So this is the part I kind of really want to focus on here. From what we can see, and maybe it'll be better if I just do something like this. Ooh, gosh, is that doesn't look, no, that doesn't look too Gucci. Oh, that's a little bit too rough. There we go. That actually doesn't look too bad. So we'll go with this, and let's do perp. No, perp doesn't look good. How about Brownsy? Brownsy doesn't look that good. Let's go a little lighter. Yeah, okay, we'll make it work. So here's the stuff that I found very interesting when we look at the data that is shown, right? So you have the number 1 most used artifact is Shadow Blades. Number 2 is Phoenix Eye at 49 uses out of the 60. Because remember, you have to, right? These are being taken out of the 67 people that had given us feedback. Kingslayer, 39 out of 67. Greymar's Hammer, number 4, which was 30 out of 67. Sorlin's Blade, 20 out of 67. So this makes up your top 5. Now, this column here basically gives you a short description, and we'll go in and we're going to look at some of the artifacts as well. But this gives you a short description on what the artifact is for its primary attribute, and then what is the effect of it, right? Is it an AoE, a single target? Is it damage? Is it shield? Is it heal? Is it buff? Etc., etc. And so this kind of shows you, right? So you can see here, here's the top 5. It's Marksman, AoE damage for Shadow Blades, Phoenix Eye, Magic AoE damage, Kingslayer, Cavalry AoE damage, Greymar's Hammer, Infantry AoE damage, and then Sorlin's Blade Cavalry. So you have 2 Cavalry, a Marksman, Magic, and Infantry, right, that are in here. Now, if we look at all of the artifacts and their effects or their primary characteristic attributes, here's the percentage breakdown, right? So out of these, again, out of the 24 artifacts that players responded to using, again, varying between 1 time up to 60 players who used it, these are the percentage breakdowns. So you have 7 magic artifacts that were used almost 30% of the time, almost a third. 5 of the artifacts were cavalry used, 4 were infantry, and 3 were marksmen. Now, I also want to point out that some of the data on this part is, so take this with slightly a little bit of a grain of salt, only because there's not an overwhelming amount, right? Like, for example, there's not 10 heroes of magic, there's not 10 heroes of marksmen, there's not 10 heroes of cav, infantry, celestials, etc., where you can run as an example, where you could run 2 legendaries per legion, right, of the same type. Eventually, we'll get to that point, but we're just not there right now. But however, I do find this interesting because what this shows me is that there is, again, a heavy use, and again, we always see Shadow Blades being used in open field PvP. Phoenix Eye Kingslayer with, again, the big swings, Greymar's Warhammer for infantry, right? We typically see a lot of Madeline and Nikas that are running that, or Madeline Garwoods on the field. Shadow Blades for marksmen, right? You're probably seeing something like a Nico Guanwin, right? Has been pretty common these days. Even Nico Hosk, I've seen a couple times. Phoenix Eye on Magic. You're probably seeing Lilia Waldir, maybe Veln, Lilia Veln. I see some people that will run Veln Alwyn, and then they'll still run Lilia Waldir, right? So they can have 2 Magic comps. That still seems to be pretty meta at the moment. And then you'll have on the Cavalry side, right? It's Bakshi Emrys. That's been pretty consistent. I think we've seen like an Emrys Alistair, and then like Bakshi Hosk. I've seen a couple of those, but for the most part, it's a lot of Bakshi, Emrys, Bakshi. Most of the time, I'm usually seeing Bakshi as the primary. But this just kind of goes to show you, right, what's up. Now, let's take a look at the top 5 artifacts, right? Again, we'll start with Shadow Blades and then kind of work our way there so I can show you what those look like in-game. So this is what we're going to do. We will show this bad boy off. Let's go boom. We'll go boomsies. And then we're going to show you guys Shadow Blades. So Shadow Blades is the name of the artifact. The skill name is the one you're going to see used on the field. And that'll be what this is. Shadow Games, Royal Punishment, right, as an example. That's what it's going to say when you're seeing it actually activate in a fight. So Shadow Games is marksman. And actually, let's do it this way so I can actually show you what the max attribute stats are. And this might be a little easier as long as we can see everything. And this is one way to do it where you can look at, right, the max. So you can see plus 40% marksman unit attack, plus 22% legion attack. You're dealing 5% more damage, but you're also taking 5% more damage. And so Shadow Games, right? Rage cost is 1200, 1 minute, 30 second cooldown, deals damage 2 up to 5. How about deals damage up to, right? I don't know if we need the extra 2 there. 5 enemy legions in a designated rectangle. And you can see how the animation looks, right? At max damage factor is 3600, takes 15% less damage per additional target. What that means is that the damage factor is at max for the first person that is hit by it, and then every person beyond it, up to 5, that would mean 2 through 4, will take 15% less damage. That means number 2 will take 15%, and then number 3 will take 15 more less percent, and then so on and so forth, right? So it's like number 2 will take negative 15% or 15% less. Number 3 will take 30% less, 45 and 60. That's how that works. I actually had asked CoD CS about this because I wanted to get a clarification. So this is Shadow Blades. Now let's look at Phoenix Eye, which is right here. So Phoenix Eye is magic unit attack 40%, legion attack, right? Very similar to Shadow Blades. Rage cost is 400 more at 1600. Cooldown time's the same. Deals damage up to 5 enemy legions in a designated circle, right? And you can see this being used, right? Legions take 50% less damage per additional target, so it works a similar way. Let's look at Kingslayer, which I think was... Oop, did I pass it? $10 as I passed it. I did. Kingslayer, here we go. Plus 40% on Cav unit attack, plus 20% legion attack. Again, similar stats, but just for Cav. 600 rage cost this time, right? So half of what Shadow Blades was. A minute 30 second on the cooldown. Deals damage to up to 5 enemy legions in a designated arc. And again, you can see the interaction here on the window where, bam, the big sword just comes out and swipes them. Damage factor. Now, if the target is another Lord's Legion and has fewer than 10% units remaining, it is immediately defeated, right? So you kind of get the instant KO. That's actually pretty cool. Then we got Graymar's Warhammer, which I think is... Oh, no, dang it. I might actually... I don't think... See, this is one of the things. I wish they showed every single one here so you can look at it. We're going to have to go to the other one. So before we do that, let's see if they have Sorlin's Blade. They do. So we'll look at Sorlin's Blade, then we'll go look at Graymar's Warhammer. So this one is plus 40%, plus 18%, right? So 4% less on the like Legion or the secondary attribute. But again, still with damage dealt and damage taken. You got 600 rage cost, again, half a Shadow Blades, a minute 30 seconds, deals damage up to 2 enemy legions in a designated arc. And again, this is where you can see it. Sword Oath, and then targets take 25% less damage per additional target. Your legion gains haste, march speed plus 20% for 10 seconds. So again, makes sense why they're running it on Cav. Now let's look at, what did I have there? Graymar's Warhammer. So we're going to have to do this the roundabout way. So, oops, hang on. Should be at the top here. So Graymar's Warhammer. I wish I had a chance to look at like what the max stats are. Hopefully that's something that they'll do eventually. But you can see here, right, infantry, Legion of Vets. I'm assuming this is the same. It's probably 40% plus 22%, negative 5% plus 5%. Rage cost, however, is 400, right? So that's actually 200 less than the 600 rage cost artifacts we've seen. A minute 30 seconds on the same. Deals damage up to 4 surrounding enemy legions. Damage skill factor, this is probably 3,600, I would assume. 15% is probably give or take the same. Targets take 50% less damage per additional target. Damaged targets are stunned, cannot move, or act for 2 seconds. I like this, and you could see the stun thing there. This effect can only be triggered once every 10 seconds, even though this has a minute 30 second on it. Okay, sure. Or stun move for 2 seconds. But again, this is cool. I mean, this is what you consider to be more of a CC type. This is like damage CC type artifact for your infantry, your close range or melee type heroes, or units, we should say. So again, that pretty much shows you the stats, the data. Again, my opinion on it is, I think for the most part, right, let me say this. We're really showing off legendary artifacts. If I give an honorable mention for some of the ones that we saw on the data sheet, this would be like Magic Bomb. It has 9 uses out of 67 people. And Magic Bomb is let me see if I can actually show you guys this in the arena, because that would be cool if we're able to. This is an epic artifact. So Magic Bomb's right here. So this is something that I see used pretty often, right? We'll see Time Bomb is what it shows for any of you guys that watch the open field PvP or any of the PvP videos that I've put out, right? So you're looking at plus 20% for magic, right? This is kind of like your budget-friendly magic unit item or artifact. Throws a magic bomb at the selected legion. After 8 seconds, the bomb explodes, dealing damage up to 3 nearby enemies, right? 50% less damage per additional target. So that's one. Let's see what else we have here that we saw. A Homecoming Blossom was something I saw that was used. Again, this is Legion March Speed, Legion Defense. This is predominantly something I saw that was being used on cavalry for the most part. I guess you could almost argue even using this on infantry, but I just don't know if that... I mean, I guess you could if you think about it. If you're trying to get infantry really close up front and in the fight, that could be something. Again, the active here is after a short charge of teleport your legion back to near your city or back nearby. Let me see what else we saw here. Cloak. I saw Cloak of Stealth, I believe, was used 2 times. This is typically used by cavalry units for flanking and trying to get behind or pick off stragglers. And you can see here at max, again, you're looking at negative damage taken, legion attack 18%, cav unit attack plus 18 or plus 28. Grants your legion stealth, march speed negative 15%, but lasts for 1800 seconds, which is 30 minutes. Right, 1800 divided by 60, that's 30. So 30 minutes. That's a really long time, but okay. Let's see here. What else did we notice that we maybe saw? I think that was pretty much it, at least on the... and the other one we saw was like Harlequin Mask. And I want to give Harlequin Mask an honorable mention right now because Harlequin Mask, I should say, is used for taunting behemoths, right? So if a behemoth is summoned and you'll have someone who's running a Harlequin Mask, which I do recommend at least one or a few people running if able, even if it's the free-to-play that's doing it, is because you're able to taunt the behemoth and you can pull the behemoth. So like one thing people were doing is they were running Harlequin Mask on, and they were like doing nothing but speed talent builds on a cavalry unit. And that unit was just there to aggro pull the behemoth out of the fight, so that way the PvP could continue for a period of time without having the behemoth just deal a bunch of damage. So very creative, again, way to approach how they utilized this particular artifact. So yeah, I think that is probably... Oh yeah, Staff of Spring. I guess the last one here I'll give a good shout out to as well, which is Staff of Spring, right? This is for healing that players would run, right? So it kind of gives you a single target heal, minute 30-second cooldown. But again, these are examples of things that you'll see kind of on the budget epic side that are being ran. I will say this, I hope you guys enjoyed the data. I love asking these types of questions of the community. I like being able to give you somewhat of a source point, because I find that when you're watching a video like this, it wouldn't just be and isn't just my opinion on what I think is good to run, but it's also backed by numbers from players that are consistently fighting and at the top of the fighting in the PvP personal merit boards that add value and quality to a video like this and what we're talking about. With that being said, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below. Again, were you surprised by Shadow Blades being #1 used? Did you think that maybe some of the other artifacts were a little bit lower on usage now that you're kind of seeing some initial data on it? Do you possibly have your own top 5 that you recommend? And the last thing I'll just note is, just with a small asterisk, remember, this kind of goes into what I was saying about us not having a lot of heroes at the moment. That's why you're not necessarily seeing, like all magic artifacts at the top or all marksmen, like the thing where that could become a possibility, just because there's not enough heroes right now to where you can double up on legions for all 5 or up to 5 of your legions. So that's going to do it for me. As always, I hope you enjoy. Until next time, I will catch you later.